Is it muted right now? There we go.
What is this?
I don't know. Happy Monday, everybody.
Where are we at?
I don't know. I think we're at the Glen Arden.
Kind of feels weird.
Does it feel weird? Feels weird. TGIM. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
At least for us, it's 5 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Cheers.
To Pride Month.
To Pride Month. Joe?
Cheers, gentlemen.
Pride Month. Oh, geez, man.
Somebody's coming out of the closet today.
Literally, somebody's coming out of the closet. Well, it's been an interesting couple of days, I guess. It's June 2nd already, and the one thing that I did notice, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but the lack of rainbows around businesses on their social media pages. Did you guys notice that? I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
IBM.
Mercedes hasn't done it. BMW hasn't done it. Apple, surprisingly, hasn't done it. IBM hasn't done it. Who else hasn't done it? There was a couple of them, actually.
Coldwell Banker
hasn't done it. Thank God. Thanks to the gods. But it's interesting. I guess this whole DEI shit is actually working out in our favor.
Why, though? What do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe because we got a Nazi in the White House.
Probably.
But it's interesting times because obviously a lot of people are not triggered by it, but the opposite is triggered by it because now it's like, oh, they're anti-LGBTQ. So.
What do you mean?
We're not anti anything. We're just for humanity.
For humanity, huh?
And normalcy. It's not too much to ask for. All of a sudden, normalcy became a right-wing position, and expecting your kids to just grow up with a normal childhood is a Nazi thing. And I don't know whatever just happened to the nuclear family and a father and mother at home.
Well,
white picket fence.
Well, I mean, we have a video of what is that? Somebody's phone? It is.
No, it's
not my phone.
It's the ringer. No,
is it the ringer? Anyways,
we love live shows. Don't you?
This is the beauty of live, isn't it? We have a video of what Pride Month looks like, and these Pride parades look like. Joe, can we play that really quickly?
Absolutely.
Look at that. And here's the beauty of all this. You see, you have a bunch of men in Speedos, and then you got kids there.
I'd love for anybody that supports this to actually phone in and let us know what part of that is appropriate for those children, and is that how that community represents itself? Is with Speedos and thongs and their junk hanging out? Is that the representation they want us to see and be like, yeah, that's actually what I want my kids to grow up to be?
It's pretty sad what's going on, because majority of the time you look at videos like that are posted and you say, stop indoctrinating our kids, stop grooming our children. But then, the left, or as in this case, the alphabet people, turn around and say, there were no children present. The children weren't watching any of this. No. But I mean,
yeah.
If you're late to the party, you could just skip back about 15 seconds and you'll see exactly what we're talking about.
Want me to play it again?
Do you want to play it again?
Not really. But
bro, I can't even watch that. I can't. I truly, and I'm not trying to be cute. I really want them to explain, is that how they want them to be represented? Because I don't think they do.
I truly don't think that's how they want to be represented. What we've witnessed there is a circus. It's a clown show.
It's degeneracy is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're degenerates. What part of that is appropriate for even adults? Yes, if that works for you, go to a Chippendale show or go to a strip club. You don't do that in a public street on fire trucks. Really, that's government property you're standing on.
I didn't even think of that.
And you've got your dingling hanging out, and come on, man.
See, you want to throw a pride parade? By all means, you throw a pride parade. go out with your rainbow flags and march and play music, dance, enjoy, do what normal people do at a parade. I mean, don't go out there parading yourselves practically half naked. In fact, this was somewhat, I'd say, R-rated. There are far worse videos that we've seen where there's nudists riding around on motorcycles and bicycles where, I mean, I wanted to pull that video up and have it displayed, but I'm like, dude,
it's even too much for us.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I mean, look at it this way, because they're like, well, you guys are homophobes. Really? Would you, either one of you gentlemen, be okay with, let's say, a heterosexual couple doing that in front of your kids?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
That's what they don't understand. They think, oh no, because it's a gay guy half naked. That's what we're getting. No, it has nothing to do with who they represent. It has to do with the fact that it's unacceptable. End of story. Whatever you do in your privacy, none of us give a flying, you know what. But when you are in public, you have to contain yourself, especially if there's children around. But even if there aren't children around, you're in public, you contain yourself, and that's it. There's no ifs and buts about it.
Yeah, keep it classy. And you see a lot of these even when you see these teenagers, man, when they're this new couple, 16, 17, 18 years old, and they can't, keep their hands off of each other. And again, this is if they're straight, even they're kissing, they're making out, they're doing whatever, groping each other. You feel uncomfortable. You're just like, dude, just fucking go get a room, or here's my card. Go, Hilton's right there.
Hilton,
Hyatt's right there. Well, yeah, listen, if they're gonna lose their virginity, you might as well lose it at a semi decent place. I'm not gonna send them to Aruba.
My question is, what happens to the exposure, indecent exposure, the laws and whatnot? I mean, if you were to do public nudity like that, wouldn't you get arrested?
Well, it's a parade, Joe.
I mean,
no, we will as straight white men. We would, because that would be considered indecent proposal. But the moment you cross over to the alphabet community, it's like open game. You can do anything you want because I'm just representing my community.
How does that make any sense?
That's what I wish somebody, I don't know, maybe a girl or one of these, influencers or political figures would come sit down here and enlighten us, because none of us seem to have an idea which part of that is considered appropriate.
Well, you're a Gen Xer. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I'm too old.
Just a tad bit old. But look, man, society, speaking of Gen Xers and stuff, society itself has been brainwashed by what it means to be prideful. Because look, pride could be anything. You can be prideful for being gay, straight, patriotic, right? There's a video that we're going to play right now of a woman probably in her, Joe, what is she? Maybe her 60s?
Looks like a Karen. So maybe late 50s or early 50s.
Do Karens age a little bit faster than everybody else?
Perhaps.
They age like wine or milk. I don't know.
She looks, she might be 20. Cheese. She's probably 20.
All right. So we have a video of a Karen who walks into her local Target, and I mean, the video speaks for itself. Can we play this one, Joe?
In my Target that used to have the Pride section, it's now all USA. Yay. It's an American summer. Except for tourism, because tourism's down because no one wants to come here. USA, woo! And honestly, my dad served in the military, and I'd love to be really proud of this nation, but it's hard to be proud of it under Donald Trump. But hey, while you're here, pick up a USA bikini. Why not? Yeah, Target's really taken this anti-DEI thing to another level.
Okay. All right, Karen.
But I guess what I'm surprised at is how quickly things shifted. I didn't realize like Target, Walmart, all these cats would just boom, all of a sudden switch their inventory.
The executive orders, baby.
Yeah, but was there an executive order though?
I believe so. I believe there was an executive order that was signed that this whole DEI shit's basically
That's not DEI though. DEI is related to hiring.
Diversity, equity, inclusion. It doesn't matter. It could be hiring. It could be inventory.
Yeah, but I don't think they have control over like the inventory of private-owned corporations or even public-owned corporations.
Well,
for that matter.
look at it this way: the people that are being hired to work for corporate at this point are no longer DEI hires.
Well,
Yeah, but it's not like
It's either that or they're really afraid of, go woke or go broke.
Yeah, that's more likely.
yeah, because otherwise those executives haven't been all replaced.
Not necessarily,
Since
but
January, all of a sudden, all executives have been replaced.
well, not
No,
I think it's more of a go woke, go broke thing. They're terrified of it because look what happened to Bud Light or Budweiser at this point. And Anheuser-Busch took a massive nosedive.
Yeah, I think the law that he was trying to pass was well, not law that he was trying to pass, but he was talking about flags on government buildings. That's what the rule was, not necessarily privately.
Merchandise,
Oh, well, dude, I mean, there's so many on government. Okay, let me ask you this. Is a museum considered a governmental building?
no.
Even
No.
if it's federally funded
If it's federally funded, then it would
or
be
state funded or county funded?
No, funding doesn't mean it's government owned because today you can have a homeless shelter that's federally funded. It's not a government building. It's your building. You run a private operation. You're just taking grants from the federal government. It doesn't mean it's a government entity or a government building. Same thing with museums. You could have a private museum and you could get grants from the government and you could call it government funded, but doesn't mean it's a government entity or a building.
Well, the flag bill that you guys were talking about was anti-rainbow flag. Is that what it was?
I think it was overall just no flags other than the U.S. flag, and let's be honest, Israeli flag, right?
I don't think there are any Israeli flags on government buildings.
Oh no, not at all. You don't think so?
No, I'm serious. Are there?
I don't know. Behind Blinken, and I've seen it.
Behind Lincoln?
No, not Lincoln.
Oh,
Lincoln.
shit.
Yeah. Like some of the government officials.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you see a bunch of them with their stupid pins.
Oh, there you go.
You got the Ukrainian
No,
one.
that's- okay, that's different.
No, it's a pin.
That's personal sponsorship.
Yeah. It's like NASCAR.
Exactly. But as far as
APAC funding.
Funny.
so, Joe, let me ask you this,
Go ahead.
because I know you're one of the biggest advocates out there for Israel.
Of course.
How would you feel if the tables were turned and the relationship that the U.S. has with Israel was with Armenia?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't think that there should be double
Standards?
citizenship. No, citizenship, like dual citizenship in government, bottom line, no matter which country it is. This isn't specifically because it's Israel. It's just, I don't think that they should they should represent the United States, bottom line.
So are you basically saying that the 20% in the Senate and Congress that have dual citizenships with certain countries shouldn't have dual citizenship with certain countries?
Absolutely.
So that's what you have an issue with.
I have an issue with not being America first, pretending to be America first, but at the end of the day, fighting for Israel. It's their war. It's their problem. Let them handle it.
Well, what are you talking about, bro? They're our greatest ally.
Yeah, sure they are.
What's fascinating to me is recently you've seen more and more people wake up to what's really going on. And one of the most shocking ones, which we saw literally a couple of days ago, was Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan sat down with Dan Bilzerian and called Dan Bilzerian anti-Semitic Nazi, and I can't believe you're saying this, and Israel's our greatest ally, to now Piers Morgan questioning, dude, what the fuck is really going on in Israel or in Gaza?
But you guys still didn't answer my question, though.
Go ahead.
Would you be okay if instead of Israel, it said Armenia?
No.
No, bro. Look.
So
No.
if we had, the U.S. had those ties with Armenia today, where we're sending whatever it is, $3 billion a year, and we've got the ANCA, for example, that has the power that APAC does, and everything is, instead of Israel, Armenia.
No.
You wouldn't be okay
No,
with it.
I wouldn't be okay with it.
By all means, the people in Armenia can enjoy it all they want. If there's an alliance there, so be it. But for me, it would be, no, dude, why are we sending money to a foreign country? Why? Yeah, if you want to make some sort of political deal where there's exchange going on for goods and services or whatever it is, by all means. But if there's funding, if my tax dollars are going to a foreign country, no, it's not okay. Bro, look what's happening in California. We had a guest who sat down with us who said, I can't believe LA has become the shithole that it is today.
Yeah, but that's not lack of funding. That's misuse of funds.
Well, I mean,
Misappropriation of funds.
Well, wouldn't you say it's a misuse of funds to send it overseas instead of?
But that's always been around. We've always sent funds overseas.
I don't think it was this much, man.
Well,
USAID just got shut down, and look at how much mismanagement of funding there was.
I understand, but you have to look at everything in direct proportion of, let's say, our economy, right? If 50 years ago we only used to send 3 billion total, now we send 100 billion total. Well, our GDP 50 years ago was, let's say, probably 4 trillion. Now it's 32 trillion. So, and there's a percentage of your GDP that you have to do that as the most powerful country, as somebody who wants to have influence and control in every aspect of the globe. You have to do that. You can't just, sweep the rug off of everybody and say, listen, it's America first, no money to anybody.
What do you mean by you have to do that? What does that mean?
It's no different than when you're the largest corporation, when you're the largest business owner, largest employee in your town. There are certain things you have to do for your fellow citizens, for your fellow government, for your fellow everything, in order to not have trouble and to be able to demand compliance and adherence and so on.
So hold on. Are you saying that they're funding because they're ally and they're preventing things from happening? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, because ultimately, if let's say there's 5 countries out there who are trying to somehow infiltrate the U.S. in some sense, as far as to create chaos or cause some type of havoc, right? They're less likely to do so because they're being helped by the U.S. And those countries, if even there's 5 of them, if 2 of them decide, the other 3 are going to say, hey guys, but they're really helping us with these, this area. They're helping us with our, let's say, industrial advancements and medicine and this and that. That's not, bro. It's not a good idea. Let's just let the other bigger guys, let Russia and China be the bad guy, for instance. Versus if you're not helping anybody, then it's easier for them to turn against you. And it may not matter to the U.S. Maybe U.S. is so big and powerful now that it may not matter. But I think when you're the big kahuna in town, you got to help the little people so that they don't turn against you.
So you're saying Israel would be the little kahuna?
No, Israel is the big kahuna that's ran by the U.S., and it's just the Middle East big kahuna intentionally placed there to be able to keep an eye and control and create proxy wars and propaganda and whatever the U.S. needs, and possibly whatever the United Kingdom needs to control the world.
So you don't think that any of the major disasters that happened that were blamed on, let's say, Muslims, which we have nothing against, but we're not extreme fans of as well. I mean, if we can all agree on that, we're pretty neutral on that. But so we later on, when we're digging, we find out that no, actually, Israel's finger has been involved in that.
Yes, but who gave Israel the green light to put its finger in there?
Dual citizenships of the United States and government officials that run the United States.
Yes, but those government officials were not placed there by Israel. They were placed there by the United States.
Were they?
Of course they were.
You don't think there were Zionist Israeli government officials that basically infiltrated the United States government?
No.
You think they're basically United States individuals or politicians thrown into...
Who allows Israel to exist?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by who allows it?
Who allowed Israel to even be formed in 1948?
Well, it was the Allies at the end of the day. It was the United States. It was Great Britain. It was
That's it. Right? Who allows them to exist? The same people.
Yeah, because because they say Israel is the United States' greatest ally. That's what it is. But a great ally would fight in a war side by side with you. Israel's been around since 48, right?
Not necessarily.
What do you mean
because
not
an ally is a
necessarily?
matter of an ally doesn't have to be somebody that fights next to you. An ally is somebody that you use to go fight in the Middle East and create chaos, because the Middle East has been where wars have been after World War II, right? Primarily.
Well, of course, that's where it's all been. It's been in Afghanistan. It's been in Iraq. It's been in Iran. It's been in where else? I mean, all over Syria, Lebanon.
Most of all the wars we've been in the last 20 years has been
More, bro, more than
over
20
30
years.
years.
Okay, well, look at this. Exactly, Netanyahu, which isn't even his real name, by the way. What Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. Now they're trying to do Iran, right? What else? What am I missing? Yemen, right?
Yes.
And he mentioned all these countries by name. That hey, if we attack this country, then it'll cause reverberations of peace all around the Middle East and whatnot. If we get rid of Saddam, then this we'll live in peace, and you'll see that it's going to be positive, right? But that was all bullshit. Was it not?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got into war because of Israel, but then at the same time, we wouldn't have gotten into war if the U.S. didn't agree to that. I mean,
but ultimately, who's again controlling and calling the shots? You guys think it's Israel. I think it's the U.S. Israel is just a puppet that's placed in the Middle East, basically their own CIA headquarters of the Middle East, and the U.S. calls the shot, and Israel does. And of course, Israel tries to instigate certain things, but again, it cannot do it without Big Daddy's approval.
Well, America's doing a phenomenal job destroying the Middle East. I'll tell you that much.
They always have.
Well, bro,
when have they not destroyed the Middle East?
But it's sad what it's become. But so, would you consider Netanyahu, or his real name actually, Milkovsky? Would you consider him a United States government official or the Prime Minister of Israel?
I would consider him a
secret
CIA secret
operative.
informant operative, pretty much. Yes.
So, because he was the one that came to Congress, and there was a video on this where he mentioned that if we take Saddam out, there will be peace in the Middle East. He's a threat. He is the one that's destroying what's going on in Iraq, in Baghdad, and with the weapons of mass destruction. Bro, where are the weapons of mass destruction?
Have you seen how they stand up like seals and clap for like an hour while Netanyahu was there?
Milkovsky.
Yes, it's one of their own people. Of course, they're going to do that. They placed them there.
Well, I mean,
that's how I see it. Again, I may be way off, but that's how I see it. I don't think it's the other way around.
Well, I hope
Netanyahu does not put people in office in the U.S. That's not how it works. But a lot of people, that's the I think misconception is, well, Israel decides who the president's going to be, who's going to run for Senate, who's going to be elected for Congress. I don't think so.
Don't they play both sides, both Republican and Democrat?
Again, when you say they play both sides, if they have no control over anything, they're not playing anything. They just have to, whether they're more Democratic or Republican, it's irrelevant, because at the end of the day, they're still dancing to the U.S.'s tune.
You mean the dancing Israelis?
And those guys, of course. You think?
Joe, push that blue button.
Is it the blue one?
I think it's the blue one.
I hope so.
No, the other one. Never mind. That was an Edgar moment, basically. There you go.
Baby blue. So you think 9/11 was
Do I think 9/11
caused by Israel?
The 9/11 was a U.S. It was a U.S. inside job. That's what
Okay.
it was.
But who helped them execute it?
Nobody knows.
Maybe Israel?
That's
Right.
what the theory is, because there was as Joe mentioned, the dancing Israelis who were caught right outside of Jersey, filming the entire thing that was taking
Right.
place and dancing and prancing around like, oh, look, this is great. Whatever happened. There was an interview with the Israeli young lady practically at ground zero where they asked her, what do you think of what's going on? And she's smiling and she says, now the U.S. feels what's been happening to us. with a smirk on her face. That video's out there, by the way. You guys could see it.
I understand. I've seen it,
But then when you see passports in practically legible condition landing outside of ground zero, you ask yourself, all right, so this was planted there. At the time, all of us were thinking, oh shit, that's who did it. These goddamn terrorist, Islamic, blah, 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 blah. You're heated in that moment. America's coming together. You're like, yeah, America. But then as time goes on, you realize the fuck was a passport doing in a local domestic flight? You didn't need a passport at the time. There was no TSA at the time.
It just seems like it's an MO that I've seen a lot through Israel. Like, for example, the Gulf of Tonkin, right? USS Liberty. When you're looking at even October 7th, we had a guest that mentioned that they knew it was happening. It was kind
of Jewish guest.
A Jewish.
Of course. Guest. But again, that doesn't change what I said, which is if I hire you as a hitman and you execute the job, I'm still the one who orchestrated it. I'm still the one who called the shots. I just used you to execute the order. That's it. The task. And that's what they didn't attack us on 9/11 based on their own merit. Like, oh guys, I think we should.
Bro, 9/11 is a in its own. It's a completely different topic that we could dive into because
it's the same thing with everything else.
Yeah, but you're contradicting yourself by saying that the hitman. So who is the hitman? Is the hitman the United States or is the hitman Israel?
Israel is the hitman.
Israel's the hitman or the United States is the hitman?
No. Do you know what a hitman is?
Yes. Somebody you hire to basically take something somebody out.
So the U.S. calls Israel and says, listen, this is what we need to happen. We need you to orchestrate this through your Mossad, through your whatever you need to use. You need to train a couple guys, teach them how to fly, if there were even real pilots.
So create Hamas, basically. Or create ISIS. Or create the Taliban.
Of course.
You know that Hamas was created by Israel, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, they were trained Israeli intelligence
to remove
who?
I'll tell you right now, Palestinian old president
not Avatar. What was his name?
Avatar. I know who you're talking about.
Yes.
I know who you're talking about.
I always say his name.
It did sound like Avatar. What's his name?
I forgot what his name was. But anyways, look, we tend to digress, ladies and gentlemen. But very quickly, let's reel back into Pride very quickly because what we want to bring up is there's a young boy by the name of I'll tell you what his real name is actually. Okay, so there's a young boy by the name of Abraham Delgado, who is basically a super athlete at this point because Abraham apparently...
I remembered, I can't forget, Yasser Arafat.
See, I told you it sounds like Avatar.
Sorry, go
Arafat.
ahead. Sorry.
Yasser Arafat. All right, so Abraham Delgado is a young boy who decided to transition into a female and compete in female sports. I think we got a clip of Abraham Delgado, who goes by the name of AB Hernandez now. So I want you guys to watch this clip very quickly. And we're going to dive into the topic of girls or boys competing in girls' sports.
State finals back here again. Just like trying not to get in my head and just relax,
by the way.
But it's a little harder this year.
AB Hernandez opening up for the first time about her ongoing participation as a trans athlete in a high school girls sports competition. It's generated strong criticism, including from President Trump, who threatened to cut state funding if they, quote, illegally allow men to play in women's sports. This was the girls' triple jump varsity competition on Friday, held at Buchanan High School in Clovis, where Hernandez took the top spot. A few hours earlier, the high school teenager competed in the girls' high jump and long jump varsity, where she also ranked first place and qualified her to Saturday's events.
When you see how happy this kid is being herself, you know, the first time I saw her come out dressed as a girl, that way she didn't have to hide it from me. I saw it in her face, so I was like,
dressed as a girl.
This is what she wants. I'm going to support it.
Behind AB's every move is her mother, Nereida, who has been watching from the crowd and protecting her 16-year-old daughter from nearby protesters, both on the ground and in the sky.
I'm not losing my child because of my stubbornness and for me being closed-minded. Like, I'd rather embrace our times together, even if it's been this difficult, than going to a cemetery and crying because I couldn't accept something.
The fight over allowing a trans athlete to compete in girls' sports competition has been boiling for some time, until lawmakers in the Central Valley called for Hernandez to be removed, which led to changes from the CIF on how girls play and qualify.
They should have just left it alone this year and try and fix it next year.
All right, Abraham. I hope we don't get a cease and desist letter.
I mean, can you blame the mom, though?
Of course you can.
How?
You take your child who's a minor and you have them seek a therapist. Have them talk to a therapist.
And you just think therapists will fix everything?
Well, therapy will fix something.
Okay. And
I'll guarantee you, bro, this boy, if left alone, let him go. Why isn't he competing with men?
no, that part I agree with. He shouldn't. No, he should be competing in a trans league.
There's no trans league.
They should have a trans league.
So
Not.
I'd be okay with the trans league.
He shouldn't be competing in the women's league or in the men's league because he's not gonna. He's gonna dominate in the women's and he's gonna be destroyed in the men's because he's not manly enough to win there. He's too manly to lose in the. But that's besides the point. I think. I mean, when you have a child, and if the child is that old, and still adamant about how old is he? Like 14?
I think 15 or 16.
Okay, at 15 and 16, they can easily commit suicide. Very easily. I don't know if you guys saw a clip on Instagram that was posted today. A 19-year-old girl is on a.
We're gonna talk about that as well. We're gonna bring that up as well.
Oh,
So-
I mean, we could always play that clip.
Do you want to play that clip right now?
Go ahead and talk.
I mean, we're talking about AB Hernandez, so
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how easy it is for somebody to commit suicide.
All right, you know, let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Well, since you brought it up, there was a young girl. You know what? God, you talk about her.
Yeah, this young girl, again, there's the backstory is that her boyfriend broke up with her and she was on a parasailing on vacation and she decides to release herself and fall off. There's stories that she was having a panic attack, so I'm not sure which is true, whether it's suicide or whether it's panic attacks.
You want me to play it?
I don't know the truth, but sure, you can.
So a lot of people are saying that this is, you know, she's having a panic attack here and she wants to get out. But I mean, I don't know if that looks like a panic attack, bro. She's, I don't know. And mind you, the audio in the back is them recording off of a laptop screen. So, and there she goes.
So as a parent, if your child is struggling, sometimes you have to put yourself in their shoes as far as, okay, fine. If this is what it's going to take for my son to be happy is to put on a girl's outfit and dance, then let him try it. Maybe he'll get over it. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But there comes because at 15, 16, it's too late. At that point, you can't discipline your kids anymore. You should have embedded your values and principles way before that. At 15, 16, I don't think parents have any influence over their kids
So
anymore.
do you think that with Abraham or AB or whatever he wants to call himself, it's something that the mom allowed it to continuously take place? Because what did she say as far as in the video, Joe? Did she say something about like the first time I saw him come out in a dress and he felt...
She reassured it for sure.
Right, but at what age?
That's what I'm curious about. Because if it was something where it was done at the age of 9, 10, 11, that's a little bit of a concern.
Right.
Because look at it this way. His last name, he took his mom's name So his name was Abraham Delgado. Now it's A.B. Hernandez, meaning he probably shortened the Abraham to A.B. and Hernandez is the mom's last name. So, there's
no dad in
no
the
father
picture.
figure. When NBC went out to get a statement from the father said that he doesn't want to.
No comment.
No comment. So there's a
Right.
lack of a father figure. We don't know what kind of relationship
Right.
he had with his father.
And you don't know if he's been taken to therapy or not.
And also another thing, I hate saying this, but you don't know if there was sexual abuse.
Right. Of course.
But I think we're missing the point. I don't think it's about her or him choosing to be in sports as a male or female. It's how it's affecting the rest of society. If it was like a trans, like you mentioned before, Armand, if it was a trans, let's say, specific sports group, that would be we wouldn't care.
That's why I said I think there should be trans league. But as far as what the mother is doing, she's doing what most mothers would do if the child at 15, 16 still insisted that they're the opposite sex. There comes a point where you no longer have influence over your kids. You're either going to support them or you're going to lose them.
I could see that too. And
I've seen this with parents who had, let's say gay children, both male and female, where they fought it. Armenian, very conservative families, they fought it. They lost their child. They ran away. And then a year, 2 years later, it's like, you know what? I have to support it. So they come back. So at least I can have a relationship and I can have some type of, not control, but at least they'll be under my supervision in the sense, I'll be able to, okay, at least I know they're okay.
Yeah, you have a conversation with your children. Make sure that they're comfortable enough to open up to you about anything. Anything. You want your kid to open up to you rather than somebody else. Because you, at that point, know your child best and you'll be able to have the open conversation with them to be like, all right, you know what? I get what you're going through. We'll figure this out together, rather than them going up and opening up to a public school counselor. And that counselor is going to, no, we don't know what their intentions may be. Because it's not their kid.
Yeah, like today I was listening to a podcast earlier on my way to a meeting, and a mom called in. She was probably in her 60s, I assume, because she had a 30-year-old, and her 3 other kids were between the ages of 35 and 41. So she probably was in her 60s. She said, my 30-year-old daughter, all of a sudden, she went from phone conversations with the family, because they live in, she lives, I guess, out of town.
Uh-huh.
She went from phone conversations once a week or so, primarily texting, to stopped phone conversations altogether. Only would communicate with the parents and family via text. And she's like, recently she just texted us saying, I'm breaking up with you guys. A 30-year-old woman.
I'm breaking up with you guys?
Yes, texts her mom, her parents, and says, I'm breaking up with you guys. Don't try to contact me. When I'm ready, I'll reach out. And she hasn't talked to her daughter in months. And she was calling in to ask the psychologist, like, how do I deal with this?
So what did the psychologist say?
He said, well, you can ask your other 3 children if they have any communication with her, and let her know that you're concerned, that you and your husband, her father, are concerned. And she's like, just maybe write a diary or some sort somewhere, where eventually when she does come back, she could see that you guys were searching for her. You were concerned about her. You didn't just go, oh, well, okay, she's gone. When she's ready, she'll come back. But he said, there's not much you can do at this point, because she's a 30-year-old woman who's decided not to have any communication with you.
Yeah. But Sonia Shaw, who was on our show, what was it, maybe 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah, about
Chino. So she's part of the Chino Valley School Board. She's the president of the Chino Valley School Board. She's running for California superintendent, if I'm not mistaken, this upcoming November. She's going to be on the ballot. So Sonia Shaw met up with A.B. Hernandez's mom at the local high school. And there was I don't want to call it an altercation, but there was a back and forth, because Sonia's got, she's got daughters, and her daughters play sports, and she's a soccer mom. She's for protecting girls' sports. And we have a video of the altercation. Sonia was kind enough to share it with us. And Joe, can you play that one?
Listen, I don't have to. I have a right to speak truth. Boys are boys, girls are girls. Your son does not belong competing against those girls, period. What a coward of a woman you are allowing that. What a coward telling girls to go and compete against a boy? How embarrassing. You're a mother. You're a mother. Stand up like a mother. I am a mother. I'm protecting girls. You want a boy. How many people support the boy competing against the girls? Nobody. Don't tell me to shut up. I was respectful to you. Okay. And you're not going to
Of course not.
be a real mom. No, you're not. You're a coward. Your mental illness is on your son, you coward.
So, I mean, I can relate to Sonia because I have a daughter, and if my daughter was playing in a certain sport, whether it's soccer, track and field, hockey, basketball, doesn't matter, I don't want her competing against boys. Because at the end of the day, especially these solo sports, man, the track and field, the gymnastics, dude, they're going to dominate these girls. These girls work their asses off to get to the CIF finals, to get to the Olympics, to get these scholarships to top-notch universities. And it can be taken away instantly by a dude.
Of course, that again, I 100% agree with that. But you have to hear both sides, because we can't just judge all of a sudden and say, well, the mom didn't raise the kids properly, or you never know. Because mental illness is a big issue today. It's a huge issue. And it's not just because, all of a sudden I want to transition into a different gender. It's just in all aspects, there's a huge epidemic, especially in teenagers and young adults. There's an epidemic, and it needs to be addressed. There needs to be some type of treatment program for it, which does not exist. Because the problem is, if you go to a therapist, they will talk you through certain things. It could work, it could not work. You go to a psychiatrist, they're going to put you on medication. The medication is going to cause anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia. All of a sudden now you can't sleep. You're not productive. Now you're going to take another medication for sleeping, but that sleeping medication causes the anxiety that the med caused for you to have insomnia. And then now you're taking another medication for panic attack. Next thing you know, you're taking 4 medications. None of them are working coherently. They're causing more issues than solving anything. And now you're a lifelong patient.
And then if you stop the medications, what happens to you?
You're even screwed more. You could even harm yourself at that point. Or even with the medication, 9 out of 10 of these medications, one of the main side effects is suicidal thoughts.
You never want to be a patient to Big Pharma for the rest of your life. And what Big Pharma is doing with all these prescription medications for, as you mentioned, for depression, for anxiety, for stress, it's once you're on it, that's it, you're on it.
And it's not just anxiety meds, guys. I mean, every med, cholesterol med, blood pressure med, diabetic med, all of these medications are designed in a way to take over the functionality of your system so that you can no longer come off of it.
They're called side effects for a reason. Because the side effect needs to be treated with something else. And then that causes side effect. See, you see all these commercials on TV where it says, I don't know, this medication, side effects might be, blah, 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 and the side effects are always faster. They never slow down on the side effects. Some of them are even scary, man. It's like blood clots, heart attacks, cancer, tumors, strokes. It's like
Possible death.
possible death. It's like,
Yeah.
so what was this medication for? Oh, it was just to cleanse your liver. All right, so if I take this medication, it'll cleanse my liver, but there's a possibility I might have a stroke and die. Yes.
And then I will be a donor and donate my liver to.
Yes. See, we're good. I don't want to mention who it is, but we're going to have a guest who's going to be coming. He's in Ibiza right now. He's fucking living the time of his life, but the man is in his 60s, and he looks better than all 3 of us combined. And a lot of the stuff he does is not only homeopathic, but he eats right. He tells you what to eat, what not to eat, what's dangerous to put in your gut. And it's going to be an amazing show when he comes by. I can't wait for him to join us. But
by the way, in other news, leaked medical report proves Imani Khalif is a biological male. Remember that boxer who competed? Was that the
yes, it was in the Olympics.
Olympics, right? Yeah.
It was in the Olympics. So that one was one where I think we went back and forth on that a couple times.
Yeah, and there was no conclusive, actual result. And I guess,
well, the first result that came out was they said that she was a male, and then they did some testing and some blood work, and they said, as I mentioned, remember, I think I brought it up on the show where I said his or her or whatever, but it's so fucking confusing, bro. But their testosterone levels were higher than an average female, and that's the reason why the blood work came back a certain way. But now there's actually conclusive evidence that he is a dude.
Mm-hmm.
And the Italian girl who kneeled and gave up during the fight was right.
Yeah. Joe, do we have any comments or questions before we? And I see a lot of comments there.
We do have a lot of comments.
I can't read from here.
By the way, we miss all of you guys on the live.
Yes.
Not
Newsflash. Nanette was saying, newsflash, all vaccines have the same black box warning.
Which is what could cause?
The side effects.
By the way, I was talking to a soccer dad earlier today, prior to me coming on the show. And he said, recently, I was diagnosed with myocarditis. And when I went to the hospital, the first thing the cardiologist asked me was, "Are you jabbed?"
Geez.
I said, "Did you ask him to put that in there?" He said,
"Oh fuck, man."
Yeah, but he's not jabbed.
He's not?
No, it's from vaping.
It's from vaping?
Really? Wow.
Joe, put the vape away.
Seriously. And I thought,
how is he? What is he? How much is he vaping?
I don't know.
Oh, geez. Because I know there's people out there that are just puffing away on
vapors vape the moment they wake up till the moment they go to bed.
It's convenient.
Of course. And it tastes amazing.
See, that's one thing I never got into. I remember when vaping became a thing, the vape pens where you would fill it up with the liquid the cotton thing. I tried it a couple of times. I'm just like, bro, this is just.
I've never been into vaping or hookah. Cigars, obviously, I love, but vaping and hookah, I've never been into.
Well, I used to smoke a pack a day, so this kind of helped me quit. But
a
now,
pack a day?
Yes.
So 20 cigarettes a day?
Yes.
21.
20. No, 20.
It's 20?
20.
I thought it was 21.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Dunhill Whites was what I used to say.
Ooh, fancy.
What other comments do we have, Mr. Producer?
So there was Hector Schick. Question to you, Arman, is like, are you being difficult on purpose, pretty much?
Because of the fact... No, I'm not being difficult, Hector. Look, I understand we try to be cut and dry about certain issues. But at the end of the day, it's very challenging because I know many parents whose kids are dealing with mental issues, different ages, teenagers to young adults. And I see the challenges they're facing, and it's not necessarily none of them are gender-related mental issues. But the challenges they face and how blindly they're going through this journey without truly understanding what the outcome is going to be, whether they're going to wake up to see their child in the morning or not, because overnight the child can decide, I'm going to take this bottle of pills because I don't want to wake up in the morning. That's the reality. And these are the experiences that I have over the years of seeing and being in the healthcare industry, even though I'm not a mental health professional, but I've dealt with a lot of it. That's what makes me compassionate and try to be more understanding of the other side versus just cut dry saying, well, no, fuck your feelings. Pick a side. It's not that easy. It's not that easy when it's a mental issue. It's not that easy. I know you don't think depression is a real thing.
No, it is. It is 100%. It is.
It 1,000,000% is, because it's most people at some point go through it. Maybe not to an extreme extent, but most people go through depression at some point in their life. But I'm sure you're a veteran. You know many people who've dealt with PTSD and other sorts of mental illness. So it's not something to take lightly. That's why I try to be understanding of the parents' position and even the children's, but no, I'm not trying to be cute, Hector.
Look, if you're going through anything, whether it's stress related to work, relationship issues, bullying at the office, or if your kids are going through bullying at school, look, don't be ashamed of actually going out and speaking to somebody. And by speaking to somebody, we're talking about seeking professional help, seeking therapy, sitting down and talking to somebody. I know in the Armenian culture, it's shameful, but there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you just need to sit down, lay down, and vent with somebody. I mean, the three of us sit down and we vent to each other a lot of the times, which
I didn't want to say, but these two are some of the mental cases I deal with.
Yeah. I mean, we've convinced him 3 times already not to get a gender reaffirming surgery, but I mean,
when the doctor looked at it, he said it's not necessary.
Yeah. You just push it in, and that's what he's been doing. I mean, he sleeps better at night. He feels better in the morning.
It's kind of like that tape you put over your mouth when you sleep.
Hey, listen.
They're not paying us. Remember,
they're not paying us. But we're going to go to our sponsors after this before we go to our next segment. But
are the sponsors paying us?
But look, this is not a paid ad, guys. I swear to God, it's not a paid ad. Recently, for the past 2 weeks, I've been using something called hostage tape. And again, I know it sounds. Look, I know. Look, it sounds crazy. It does sound crazy, but it has literally changed the way I sleep. So what it is it's not like duct tape where you think like there's no. It's you just put it over your mouth and you can't breathe and you can't. No, what it is it's a fabric type tape, and it's beard friendly, which is one of the things I looked into. I wanted to make sure when I'm taking it off in the morning, it's not waxing my
shaved.
Yeah, exactly. It's beard friendly. So what it does is when you're sleeping and you fall into a deep sleep, you have no control over your mouth. And your mouth will either fall back or, like you'll sleep with an open mouth. You'll wake up, you have that cotton mouth, dry mouth.
Cotton mouth is if you've done something else.
Well, yeah. Well, you know what I mean. I mean that dry mouth. So what?
You've been smelling a particular type of powder before bed.
Hey, listen, I don't do cocaine. I just like the smell of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what this hostage tape does is you cover your mouth and you go to bed, and it forces you to breathe with your nose. It forces you to breathe with your nose, which is how I've been sleeping recently. I wake up with more energy. I don't wake up in the middle of the night wanting to get up and go get water. And also, apparently there's, again, this isn't proven yet or not, but it also helps with gum disease and cavities as well, because your mouth is shut. It's not open.
But I heard if you want it to work even better, you got to get the premium package.
Premium package meaning?
Comes with the cork you put.
Oh.
So you don't breathe from either side.
Well, then at that point, you'll wake up bloated. But again, this isn't a paid advertisement. I'm just saying what I've been using. I freaking love it, bro. I really, really do. And you know what? I got to give you guys a couple of them so you guys could use it and just see what it's like sleeping with it and then waking up in the morning. If you wake up tired and you wake up with like this boulder on your shoulders where you're just like, oh fuck, like I got this like giant rock on my shoulders and I was restless in bed at night and tossing and turning, this will change it. I swear,
dude, man. That's most likely because you have sleep apnea and you need more air, not less.
Well, no, I don't have sleep apnea.
No, I'm saying those people that wake up
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, if you wake up and your heart's beating out of your chest, you weren't getting enough oxygen to your body. But this is what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna go to our sponsors very quickly. We're gonna play 4 ads or 3 ads, and then we're gonna come back to talking about good old George Floyd. Today's show is sponsored by the law offices of Arman Grigorian. If you're injured in a car accident and need proper guidance and representation, reach out to the law offices of Arman Grigorian, 1-818-404-0333. Are insurance companies giving you the runaround? Don't settle for less. Public Assist fights for you, not the insurance companies. To get the maximum payout on your claim, whether it's for fire, water, or property damage, call Public Assist today and tell them the WiseNuts sent you. Get what's rightfully yours. 818-242-0998. 818-242-0998, because you deserve every single dollar. Also, today's show is brought to you by the Glen Arden Club. If you're interested in networking, cigars, scotch, and a great environment, reach out to us. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glen Arden, and you'll become a member here. Smoke with the WiseNuts. Smoke with a great network. All right, speaking of mental health, we have a very interesting clip we're going to be playing. So last week, as you guys know, was Memorial Day. A lot of times people say, Happy Memorial Day, but I mean, it's not really a day to be happy. It's more of a commemoration day for the victims who sacrificed themselves, who died on the battlefield. So
martyrs, not victims.
Huh?
Martyrs or victims? I don't know if victims is.
I mean, at the end of the day, they were victims to the enemy, bro. I mean, they died on the battlefields so we can live in.
So heroes.
Yeah, they're heroes. Absolutely. So we could live in the greatest country in the world, the United States. And I believe Memorial Day is actually celebrated in a lot of other countries as well. So, again, we want to thank every single veteran who sacrificed themselves and fought for this country and, unfortunately lost their lives so we can live in freedom and be able to speak the truth, tell the truth, and let the truth set you free, baby. But speaking of truth and mental health, that is, I mean, look, you could say what you want online, you could say what you want on the news, but instead of commemorating Memorial Day, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said probably one of the stupidest things on Memorial Day.
Hello, I am Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I am proud to join you in recognizing and celebrating Africa Day. The continent of Africa is made up of 1.2 billion people with diverse countries full of rich traditions, cultures, and heritage. The African diaspora can be found in cities and countries around the globe. And right here in Chicago, our proud African communities have made indelible contributions to the growth and fabric of our amazing city. So this Africa Day, let us take a moment to celebrate the achievements of the people of Africa, the progress made by African nations, and the traditions and culture they have shared with us. And let us also show them that we will embrace and support them as they continue to overcome and face their challenges head on. Thank you, and happy Africa Day, everyone.
He literally could have said Happy Memorial Day, and I would have been okay with it, even though you're not supposed to say Happy Memorial Day. But instead of commemorating the veterans, that's what he did instead. Happy Africa Day.
Is it even Africa Day?
I have no idea. I didn't even know there was a Happy Africa Day.
I think they're just pulling these days out of there. You know what? Like,
I mean, look at it this way, man. You talk about Happy Africa Day, and he's talking about boosting our African continent and the countries and the brotherhood. Dude, modern day Africa still has fucking slaves, bro.
It says Happy Africa Day, this annual celebration on May 25th, marks the founding of the Organization of African Unity, now known as the African Union, May 25th, 1963. But is Memorial Day is not always on May 25th, is it? Or it's just
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. But I mean, instead of Memorial Day, this is what the mayor of Chicago was talking about. And again,
because this year it was on May 26th, so it wasn't the same day.
What was it last year? Because that's what I'm curious about.
27th.
So 26, 27.
So it's the Monday.
So it's
the last Monday.
The last month. It's the last Monday of May. So again, when you have government officials in office and you elect them for this country, I think this country should come first, no matter what. And then again, this goes back to what you were mentioning about Armenia and Israel and all that stuff. Dude, talk about your country. Talk about your freaking city, man. Look at what's happening in Chicago. Southside Chicago is in shambles. People are killing each other left and right. There's black on black crime, and you're talking about Africa Day? It's sad what's going on with these politicians and where their priorities stand. I mean, the guy's probably trying to climb up the political ladder at this point, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but I mean, clearly it speaks for itself.
Or he's running for Prime Minister of Africa somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way. Here's some statistics about Africa. So Africa still exists with so there's slavery still exists in Africa in several nations. As of 2024, over 9.2 million people live a modern slavery life. So there's 9.2 people in slavery in Africa. Africa also has 28 ongoing armed conflicts and wars as of early 2025.
But yet we have California who's trying to pass reparations.
Yes.
And we have 9.2 million slaves in Africa.
Yes.
Gee.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's Chicago's mayor. But, these are the type of people who praise shit like that. And also people who praise good old George Floyd, who's, we got to congratulate him because he's going on 5 years of sobriety.
One is the 5. Does he get a pin or what happened?
I don't know about pin, but
because they usually give a sobriety pin, no?
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean,
or it's a coin or a pin. What do they give, Jill?
It's a coin. It's a coin.
Why would you ask me that question?
You're the one sitting there vaping. I don't know.
But I mean, look, it's been 5 years since the passing of George Floyd, and again, it's terrible what happened to him. I mean, he was quote unquote killed by Officer Chauvin, but at the same time, you look at the autopsy report.
He was assisted by Officer Chauvin.
Well, yeah, but when you look at the autopsy report now that came out, it tells you something a little bit different. So, again, this is documentation from the autopsy of George Floyd. It's official blood work. The amount of fentanyl in his blood was 11.1 nanograms per milliliter. The amount of methamphetamine in his blood was 19.1 nanograms per milliliter. And do you know what the deadly amount of fentanyl is for the human body? You guys want to guess?
0.3 nanograms per milliliter?
3.5 nanograms per milliliter. He had 11.1 in his system of just fentanyl, not even methamphetamine. So mind you, there was a...
I'm sorry, I meant 3, not 0.3.
Yeah, 3. So, mind you, those two are the ones that are very, very lethal. Obviously, that'll kill you, the meth and the fentanyl. 3.5 is very lethal. It'll kill a person. This guy had 11.1 nanograms.
But it was the knee that did it.
But it was the knee that did it. So when you see shit like that, a druggie, a criminal, a man who held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, and actually we just found out today from Joe that he did that while his buddies were robbing her house. And he's praised. The WNBA player from the Lynx team. Look at this video. This speaks for itself.
To honor the life of George Floyd. George was a father, a brother, and a son. And his life, like every life, held meaning. His death exposed the holes that are still in our justice and criminal institutions today. And his 5-year anniversary reminds us that we must continue the fight against criminal, racial, and social injustices. We cannot
This
stay
is 5
silent.
years later,
Every
basically.
life
The
deserves
40
respect
people in the
and
crowd
dignity.
Oh yeah, of course. It's like a freaking HOA meeting right there. Actually, it looks like more of a looks like a Biden rally.
See, I have an issue with the fact that WNBA allowed that. That's not free speech anymore. You're pretty much, advocating for hate and racism in essence, because he was a father and a son, and
Well, you know what you guys need to know? Here's the economic damage George Floyd created in the United States. So over $500 million in property damage took place in Minneapolis.
that's just Minneapolis.
Yes.
What about the rest of
A lot
the
more.
nation? I think it was over $3 billion.
Over 1,500 businesses were damaged there as well. It was the most expensive civil unrest in United States history. So basically, from Minneapolis to Los Angeles to New York, there was just riots going on everywhere. In fact, our friend Vazgen, who owns Kosiani, it's been 5 years and his Long Beach store is still in ashes.
Well, it's got plywood.
Well, yeah, of course. That's flammable, isn't it? Just in case.
How come none of these athletes ever take the opportunity to speak about what's missing in their families and in their community, which is father figures? How come they never encourage the black community to actually keep their fathers around, or for the fathers to stick around? Why are they always turning these criminals into heroes? And so what do you think the next generation is? They're going to look up to George Floyd. They're not going to look up to a father figure or somebody who, let's say, is in the public eye but is a great father. They're not, because who's getting praised 5 years later? George Floyd.
So this is all done intentionally to destroy the black community. We've talked about this in the past, man.
So it's not systemic racism.
This is not an accident. It's not an accident. There are so many African American black families that we know that have the father figure who are living an amazing life because there's discipline in the family, there's respect for the elders, and there's actual culture. I mean, we saw it right here with our guests.
Yeah.
Reggie Wright and Mob James. We keep saying it. We've said it before in the past. We'll say it again. Go listen to that episode and they talk about it themselves. We don't put it in their mouth. They say it themselves about one of them having a father figure, the other one not having a father figure, and what directions their lives went into.
That's the issue with society today. I mean, we don't have the right people in the limelight where, the mentorships and the people we idolize, it's not the right type of people. It's all the wrong type of people, and that's why society continues to move backwards instead of forward.
Yeah, because the wrong people are becoming influencers. The morons like LeBron James and all these other elite athletes are coming in there and playing political games. No, bro, go play basketball. Don't get involved in politics. You have no right to. On that Barber show, he even talked about it, where he goes, something about, I don't trust the white man, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? Like, why would you even say that? Like, you're creating more division than you are.
Like, he's a great father, great husband from what we can see. Again, we don't know him personally. Talk about that. Stay out of the crap that you don't know anything about.
I mean, you look at it. Again, I don't think Bronny James should be playing on the Lakers, but look at what he did to get his son to play there. I mean, talk about a freaking father's love for his son to be able to sit by, or his son is sitting on the bleachers, but not on the bleachers, but on the sidelines, watching his dad play. But they're on the team together. It's the first time ever in history that it's ever happened. Again, that's one thing where I could say, you know what, he did whatever he could for his son. Although he shouldn't be playing in the NBA. But again, this is... I got to reiterate that, bro. I'm sorry. But That's what you should be talking about. Talk about your kids. Talk about your wife. Talk about your family. Talk about how you only go through one page of a book. Do that stuff for us.
My cousin outballed him though. Anto Ballion.
Ooh. But there's another video we want to play.
And Scottie Pippen's son.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ooh. But here's another clip we want to play. So these are the schmucks that divide the country. This is the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry. All right. I want you guys to watch this video of him crying at George Floyd's funeral and tell me if you think this is genuine or not, bro. Because honestly, I mean, look at this. Watch this. This is the mayor. I mean, I feel like he's laughing, bro.
Did he even know George Floyd?
Of course he didn't know George Floyd. But he's crying like he's at his father's funeral. That he lowered his mask. COVID right there. This is prime COVID time, by the way.
How do you take these people seriously?
You can't. And that's a gold casket, by the way.
Who paid for that?
It's our tax dollars. Well, Minneapolis taxpayers did.
Oh my God.
So that's the mayor crying over an individual who he had no idea who he was 24 hours prior to that funeral or his death, but is sobbing like his grandmother just passed away or his father just passed away. It's an act, bro. It's all an act. Please comment if you think that was a genuine cry. I mean, again, he has the mask on. He'll be able to just kind of play it off, but it's a joke, man.
Would you respect, because obviously more Democrats were kind of, I guess, praising George Floyd than Republicans. But if a Democratic politician stood up and condemned the behavior, would you respect that politician more so than
absolutely
if they didn't?
Absolutely.
I don't understand why they can't do that.
Because it doesn't fit their agenda.
It's like they have no moral compass. It's just whatever causes chaos, let's advocate and support that. And
look, the Democratic Party throughout history has their hand in the cookie jar with a lot of shit that's divided this country. Who created the KKK? The Democrats. Who wanted to abolish slavery? The Republicans. In fact, one of the Republicans who wanted to abolish slavery, what was his name again? I think he's on the $5 bill.
Abramovich.
Yeah, and he created the Republican Party, actually, as well. Ulysses S. Grant, another one. Again, he was an advocate of abolishing the KKK as well. So all the shit that these Democrats have done have been more divide rather than collaboration.
For sure.
There was something else. There was another one. I forgot what it was. I think it was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt did something stupid as well against the black community. When it comes to my mind. Levick, can you remember what it was? Franklin Roosevelt did something to the black community.
Do we have any comments, questions so far, Joe?
We have...
I see a lot of comments, but I just, like I said, I can't.
Not, some of them are related, some of them are not.
Well, can we go over some of the related ones or no?
Sure, we can. Let me go through it. Go ahead and continue on what you were saying, Arno. And then
I'm gonna look for that FDR thing.
Sounds good. Also, yes, we're related. Levick. That's what he was asking. Let me see. Crocodile tears.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mainly they're comments. They're not real questions as of yet.
All right. So were those the only things before we jump into
Macron?
Ooh, Macron. All right. So we're going to talk about the president of France or the prime minister of France really quickly. I mean, it's going to be a short segment, but this video clip that we're going to be playing for you guys happened about 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, where the president or the prime minister of France is literally getting ready to walk off of an airplane and is in some sort of a, I would say, argument with somebody who's off camera, and then that individual's hands shove the president's face, and then he looks at the camera, smiles, and all of a sudden the first lady shows up of France, and it's her. So, Joe, can we play that video real quick? The door is open. I blame the captain, actually. Why open doors? Sees the camera. Hi!
Just foreplay.
Like, all right, honey, act natural. Hello, everything's fine. Hello, hello.
Surprised she didn't put shoes on instead. Yes. Austin Powers would say, that's a man.
That's a man. Oh, jeez. Mind you, this is this. All right. So that's the same guy who's funding the Ukraine-Russia war.
Can't even control his husband. Have you guys watched? Because there's a series Candace owns that I haven't dived into that yet about Macron's wife. It's a 6-episode series.
I heard something about that.
Where apparently she has a lot of evidence that
he's a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but that just tells you what's going on behind closed doors. That there is no real relationship. Mind you, she's much older than him, and in fact, she was his teacher. And I guess he
likes cougars.
Well, I don't think there's a cougar, bro. At this point, I think she's more of.
So we also have Levick saying FDR refused to support lynching. He was trying to say lynching. But.
That's the Michelle Obama lunch bill you're talking about.
Michael Obama.
Also, it says what? Overseas segregated military bill as well.
Okay, so see, there was something that he did as well. And again, mind you, FDR was a phenomenal president as well. At the time, with the war going on, and getting us out of the Depression, even though the war also did help us get out of the Depression, he is known as probably one of the greatest presidents of all time. Also, he created Social Security. Not that it's going to benefit any of us now, but
also he's saying that Macron's wife is apparently 25 years older than him, and that she met, or
yeah.
I use the term lightly. She met him when he was 15 years old. Really, I didn't know that.
So she's a pedophile.
Oh, I mean,
or he's a pedophile. What was he? Was he trans? Again, these are just accusations.
Yes,
allegedly. But it's so funny what's happening politically in today's society, with the boomers, with the Gen X's, with the millennials, and now with the Gen Z's. You see the boomers that were born obviously in the mid to late 40s into early 50s. The boomers were born, and they became like these hippies, right? Peace and love and freedom and smoking weed, and we all got to live together. And then once they started having families, they were just like, all right, you know what? I think the government needs to step out of our boundaries and let us live our lives. And when the Gen X's were born, which was basically you guys, you were somewhat divided, but still kind of stayed stern as far as conservative, because the boomers were able to flip from Democrat to Republican because of the Reagan regime. The Reagan regime really changed society. A lot of people voted Republican because of him. But with these millennials, which is my generation, we grew up anti-Republican because of the Bush regime. We were pro-Obama, anti-Bush, anti-war. Now, what's happening with the millennials, guys? They're having families. and they're flipping. But the Gen Zs are the ones who are screwing a lot of shit up right now. They're basically putting a certain standard out there that we need to please them. And how do you please somebody who can't be a man? I mean, Macron is the definition of what Gen Z is like today. There is no father, not a father figure, but there's no man figure there. He's weak.
No spine, being bitch slapped by. And why couldn't she do that when the doors were closed? I don't know. I'm sure it was a long flight.
I blame the captain for opening the door soon. You saw they were bickering. Why the fuck you open up the door?
Maybe he wanted the world to see it.
Again, look, domestic abuse happens both ways, men and women. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of men out there who are going through domestic abuse who are afraid to come out and talk about it. But it happens. It happens all the time. If the president of France could get his ass beat by his husband and smile at the camera thinking that everything is fine, God knows what's going through that man's head. He's a weak person, bro. And he just showed his cards to the entire world of who he really is.
How do you sit down with another world leader now and for them to take you seriously?
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, you need to end that war.
How about you tell that wife of yours to come and sit here? Again, we're laughing about it, but that's what it looks like, man. It's sad. It truly is sad.
I think Gen Alpha is gonna see all this, and I think they're gonna, you know how
hard times create strong men, strong men create easy times create weak men create hard times.
Exactly. I think
it's an endless cycle, unfortunately. But did we want to dive into that last clip?
Why not? The only thing is let's have a word from our sponsor.
Okay, let's have a word from our sponsor one more time before we end the show. And there's one more clip we're going to be playing before we call it. Are you leaving LA for Texas? Don't make the mistake of getting underinsured just to save a few bucks. Call Martin Melkonian with State Farm Insurance. He'll make sure your home, auto, and your business is fully protected. No gaps, no surprises. Martin takes his time to understand your needs to build the right policy for you. No shortcuts, just honest advice and real protection. Call him today, 281-712-2788, 281-712-2788. All right, so I don't know what the hell is in the water in Florida, but somebody's got to check it for the pH levels and the chlorine and the salt, because our good friend Patrick and his crew really screwed up on something. We're going to play a video from the Patrick but David or the PBD podcast where they broke down what was essentially a meme page about Brittany Griner talking about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Can you play that clip for us, Joe, real quickly?
Right? She says, this is from Brittany. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game. It's very disruptive. It continues. Brittany Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just...
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment. And that's pretty gross.
Well,
I
act like this.
Okay,
all right.
Can you
Let's
verify
stop,
that
let's
this
stop
is
here.
what she said?
I know Vinny goes on a tangent as well here. Okay. Again, I don't know what they're putting in the water in Florida, but guys, that was a meme page. The page itself that you guys were reading the article off of was called the Sports Memery. So basically, you know that page with the bee, the babbling bee, or what is it called?
Babylon Bee.
Or Babylon Bee. All
or
right,
the
sorry.
Onion.
Or the Onion. So this is a sports page that basically does the same thing with sports articles. I don't know who did the research for you guys, but again, by all means, if that were true, I would be irate as well, but it's a meme page. You guys literally read off of a meme page. I mean, the title of it says it, the sports memery. And Vinny, Pat, Tom, and that other guy went on a tangent talking shit about Brittany Griner and Caitlin Clark when none of that actually happened. Caitlin Clark has been a huge asset to the WNBA from creating a huge fan base and in fact getting them charter planes now. WNBA didn't have charter planes. Now they got their own private planes flying them around. But, Pat threw a jab at us about California. I think we got to throw a little bit of a jab back at Pat about what's going on in Florida and that water you guys are drinking out there.
Have you ever been to a WNBA game?
No, I haven't.
Well, how much do the tickets cost anyway, like courtside?
Well, they pay you money to go to those.
Kind of like jury duty?
I wouldn't say jury duty, but I mean, let me put it to you this way. You know those scalpers, they go tickets. I mean, it's going to be the reverse. They'll pay you to go to the games now. I'm telling you, you saw the Lynx player commemorating George Floyd. Dude, it was like a Biden rally. There was nobody in the stands.
Why don't they just play at a high school gym? Why play at
I don't
playing
know.
at NBA courts, right?
They are. Like, for example, the Spark are playing at Crypto Arena.
I don't know why they can't play at a much smaller venue.
I mean, it'll be louder. They won't have to use artificial speakers and crowds and all that. They won't have to use artificial crowd noises in the speakers. And it'll feel more like a full house rather than having the nosebleeds completely empty.
It's not just the nosebleeds. Maybe 10% of the tickets sell.
Caitlin Clark is doing a phenomenal job filling up seats now. But apparently every single other player in not every single, but majority of the WNBA is hating on the poor girl.
I still can't watch it.
I get it. But
look,
she's one of the greatest things that's happened to the WNBA.
Yes. WNBA, no matter what happens, is unwatchable. Women's volleyball, phenomenal. Swimming, gymnastics.
Tennis.
Soccer, not bad. Basketball, you can't pay me to watch it. The athleticism is lacking 2,000% compared to the men. Like tennis, it's not that different. Soccer, swimming, it's not that big of a difference. Basketball, 2,000% different. I mean, more than that. It's just night and day.
When you have sports bookies like DraftKings and BetUs.com going out there and putting spreads out there about certain basketball players, female basketball players, WNBA players, about if they'll, spreads with if they'll miss the first shot and you get paid out for it. When you have spreads like that going out there, I mean, that tells you a lot at this point. It's, because it's
look, they could score, their field goal percentage could be 80%. It's just not watchable because basketball is it takes a lot of athleticism to play basketball. Yes, I know the game has changed a lot of, Steph Curry changed it with the 3-pointers, everybody shooting from half court line.
But girls' college basketball fills up their arenas.
College basketball, look, the fans are different. It's they're cheering for somebody they personally know. Nobody knows these women personally, really. College sports, those players personally because you go to school there. Just a few thousand students could potentially show up there. But it's just, I don't know. I know Ninette played basketball for many years and she coaches today. I don't know if she agrees or disagrees with me, but women's basketball, I just can't watch it.
But I mean, I truly do hope Caitlin Clark does change the WNBA towards the best. because she's a phenomenal player. I've seen highlights of her. I haven't actually watched the WNBA game, but the fact that she's making noise with ESPN, Fox, and all these other sports outlets, that tells you the level of athleticism she has. So cheers to you, Caitlin. Keep doing your thing, girl.
Sorry. He's the one cheering for you, not me.
Sorry. There you go.
I can't cheer for you.
Anything else before we call the show?
I think that's about it.
Joe's ready to hit the hay. He's ready to be
It's been
put
a
down.
long day, gentlemen.
Yeah, dude, if you guys only knew what Joe went through today.
Almost what George Floyd went through.
Almost.
Minus the fentanyl.
Yes, minus fentanyl. I had my knee on his neck.
Gee, were you wearing your hostage tape?
No, he was.
Oh, God.
I had the strip of the nose strip on.
This is how rumors get started, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, today's show will be up and running on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major platforms mañana. Thanks for tuning in live with us. Hope you guys have a great week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys all next week.